I want to kind of say to every woman that's had an abortion, listen, you are not defined by death either. We've come to life, and yet there is brokenness. I mean, even though we have healed from things that have hurt us in life.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a special edition of First Person. I'm Wayne Shepherd. Today we're going to meet a number of people, all of whom are in some way a part of a new movie out this weekend called October Baby. I'll begin by introducing you to the movie's directors, Andrew and John Erwin, in just a moment. But as you listen today, I hope you'll remember to visit our website for additional information, not only about today's guests, but also any previous or upcoming program. There's an archive of past interviews and a schedule of what's ahead found at firstpersoninterview.com. And you can also follow us at facebook.com/firstpersoninterview. In the second half of today's program, you'll meet some members of the cast of October Baby and the woman who, as an abortion survivor, inspired this film. But before we get to those guests, I want you to meet two brothers who created this new movie. Andrew and John Erwin began their careers as ESPN camera operators, eventually moving into music video and concert productions with artists like Michael W. Smith, Amy Grant, Switchfoot, and others. Now they have teamed up to produce and direct October Baby, their first feature-length film. I met with the Erwin brothers at Opryland in Nashville, and we sat down to talk about October Baby. Well, we have literally just ended a screening of October Baby, and I want to thank you guys for messing me up today. I tell you, I'm still sniffling over this movie, and it ended 20 or 30 minutes ago, and I haven't recovered yet. So, John, thank you.
Well, I appreciate you coming here to see it, and it's an emotional experience. You know, you laugh as much as you cry, but it certainly, it takes you on an emotional journey that we hope makes you feel better at the end, and it deals with a tough issue, but hopefully through a lens of grace and hope and forgiveness.
Now, we should say that as we're on the radio right now, this movie is being released at this moment, this weekend, so it's in theaters for people to see right now. Andy.
It has been the little movie that could, and it just has had a will to survive, and it has been a long journey getting to this point because the issue we took on was a risky one in mainstream Hollywood, that they were scared to death of it. But we just felt like this was a story that needed to be told, and that it's something we fell in love with telling. So we've kept working, pushing forward, and now it's going to be in theaters all across the country this weekend, March 23rd.
That's fabulous. I want to explain that the screening just finished, and some of the audience are still here in the room with us, and they're excited about what they've
you can hear them. They're excited.
So, what is it about this brothers things making movie though? I mean, the two of you, we've got the Kendrick brothers, and of course the Coen brothers. Everybody knows.
Well,
that.
That's it. If you want to compare us to them, that's okay. I think in Christian film you have to have a brother for some reason, and we certainly work well together. We've worked apart as well, but I think there's just a great dynamic when we're together, and we argue a lot, but it's great to be able to work with your brother, and I think Andy has a skill set that is different from mine, and we can come together, and I kind of make things visually look great. Andy tends to work with the actors and did a great job on that.
So what are your respective roles? Andy, you're the writer, director?
No, it's all a hybrid dance that we have developed over the years. We've been working together for probably 18 years, so over half our lives. And we co-direct. John's the writer, so he comes up with the ideas. He sells me on it. We co-direct and co-produce. We have some wonderful team that works with us, and then I John likes to be the director of photography on all his stuff, so he's the visual end, and then I work more with the actors, more traditional story, and then I edit. So it's this weird mishmash that somehow is a filmmaker.
We're going to meet some of the cast a bit later, by the way. So
that's great, and I like it when we wear a lot of hats. We certainly do, because it's kind of like singer-songwriters in the music world. When you see October Baby, it's us. It's what we believe and who we are all the way through the process. And it's something that we're very, very passionate about. Life is just something that and the sanctity of life issues, and a story about a 19-year-old that goes on a journey of forgiveness. It's just something that we're passionate about, and I like it that we just consider ourselves filmmakers. We do a lot of jobs, but we just we make the movie at the end of the day.
Well, I wanted listeners to understand. I've just seen the movie; they haven't. hopefully are going to see it this weekend and support you guys. But what can you say? What can you tell us about what this movie is? You started down that path a moment ago, John.
Yeah, well, October Baby is a movie about a 19-year-old girl, beautiful girl named Hannah, naive, and you just fall in love with her almost instantly. And she discovers at the age of 19 that she was adopted and was never told because she survived an attempted abortion. And kind of shocked with that reality, she decides to go on a road trip to find her birth mother, to find answers, to find out who she is. And things don't go maybe as she had hoped. And in the end, she finds out the true power of forgiveness and how liberating and empowering it can be. And then she finds out who she is and how to live her life. So it's a road story. It's a coming of age story. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you cry. Yeah. It's entertaining. Yeah. But what we hope the most is it will make you stop and think about life and the value of it and how important it is.
Andy, some people may say, okay, I know what this is about. This is a film about abortion. And it's not. I mean, it is, but that's not what you set out to do, is it?
Absolutely not. I mean, I think that was the opposite of what we set out to do. We set out, first and foremost, we're storytellers. Our movies are supposed to entertain and engage an audience, to tell a good story, and I think that's the obligation of a filmmaker.
You're making a value statement, but it's not a political statement.
Absolutely not. It's a person's story, and because of that, it is our desire that it's not an issue. It's not a movie about necessarily abortion as much as it is about forgiveness and healing, and the context happens to be an abortion survivor. And I think that's a universal topic that we can all identify with, and I think that's why it touches on so many issues, from everything from the abortion survivor to the post-abortive woman to the adoptee. I think it covers the gamut.
So, John, if someone is hesitant about going to this movie, let's say they want to take a friend because, maybe that friend doesn't share all the same values they share, and yet they see, well, this deals with an abortion survivor. Maybe this is not the best introduction for my friend.
It's what I love about it is, we say great films don't, force feed you answers as much as they just ask penetrating questions. What I love about the film is how universal it's accepted, because it's just an honest piece of work. And yes, I'm a believer, and yes, the film is full of what we believe in terms of redemption and grace. Through Jesus Christ. But at the end of the day, it's just a great love story and a great coming of age story. And it was great when we showed it at a film festival in L.A. And a woman came up and said, I'm an atheist, I'm a liberal, but I can't deny that the character in your story is a victim. And if that really happens, I have to rethink my perspective. A mother and a daughter saw it together, and the daughter she was raised pro-life, had become very adamantly liberal in college, and they saw it together. And, without any argument, she loved the movie, and she just said, I'm pro-life again because of this movie. And so it's a great conversation starter. It's not offensive, and I think it's a great film to take people that don't share your point of view.
The profits from this movie, obviously you have to make money when you make movies like this. Yeah. They're expensive to make, but you've dedicated some of the profits to what?
Yeah, there was an idea that, John originally came up with the story and co-wrote it with Teresa Preston. So this was something he was passionate about first, and then it was contagious. He got me excited about it. But as we began to look at where the profits would go for the film, there was just something that he was very passionate about as well, that to all of our supporters and investors and the distributors that have come on board have been so excited about as well. And to their credit, it's called the Every Life is Beautiful Fund. So, John?
Yeah, the Every Life is Beautiful Fund is 10% of the profits of the movie will go into that fund. And we have to make the venture profitable, because if you make something profitable, that means it becomes sustainable. Sure. And that means one Christian film can become 2, can become 10.
Right, we understand.
And so, but out of that profits of the movie, we thought it was very, very important that some of that money would go to frontline organizations helping young girls face crisis pregnancies, not really helping the people, and then also to adoption agencies and those that care for orphans. And so that's what the fund's about.
Was it difficult to get distribution for this movie, given its theme and
much more difficult than we even knew? I mean, if anybody were to say, Andy and John, your first feature film, you've done music videos for years, your first feature film is going to be about, this topic, we probably would have steered clear of it. But, most of the time, as a filmmaker, sometimes you go out and you find the story. But 9 times out of 10, the story finds you. And this story found us. We so fell in love originally with Gianna's story, and then what that inspired October Baby, we so fell in love with this story that we had to make it. But then once we got to the people that we thought were going to distribute it and all the studio system, they were terrified of it. And so, John can...
We heard the word no more than I wanted to hear, and we heard the word polarizing. And what kept us going was this: we believed that this was an issue that was on the heart of God. One of my great favorite quotes was, "Stop asking God to bless what you're doing. Find out what God's doing and get involved in it because it's already blessed." And I believe there's something going on in the Sanctity of Life cause in America, and there's change coming, and there's young people that are more pro-life than even their parents are when you look at the surveys. And so we kept going on a belief that this is an issue on the heart of God, and this is an issue on the heart of a lot of people. And every step along the way, it's been amazing to see that validated, and the miracles that have happened to bring this thing to movie screens, because it was there was a moment where we didn't feel like that was even in the possibility. To see what's happened now and to see people stand up and say, we want to stand for life with you at the movie theater has been amazing.
Andy, I know you realize you're standing on the shoulders of some other filmmakers who have gone before you. We're riding kind of a wave right now of faith-based film. It's very encouraging to see what's happening, and guys like you are stepping up.
It's exciting to see what God is doing. I mean, to think that the window that God has given Christians into entertainment right now is unprecedented. And we owe a lot of that specifically to the Kendricks and the Sherwood and what God's done there. And those guys have had a huge impact on our lives as filmmakers and as just men of God and friends. And John worked on Courageous as a second unit director, and it was actually Alex that really challenged us to step out of the box.
Good,
John, you want to share?
Yeah, it's amazing what's God's on the move in the film, faith-based film world, and it's amazing to see what's going on, and I can't wait to see the future of what happens.
John and Andy Erwin, thank you guys. We're looking forward to everybody seeing October Baby this weekend if you can.
Yes,
right?
Please go this weekend. God bless you. Thanks for being a part of our team. It's been great.
Coming up in the second half, we'll meet Gianna Jensen, who inspired this movie, and a couple of members of the cast of October Baby. Next week, we'll meet a man who grew up in a Muslim home, but now is a follower of Christ.
I believe, Wayne, that every Muslim deserves to hear the gospel. And here in America and around the world, most Muslims, they are not hearing the gospel. They are not having a chance to hear the gospel. That's the passion God has given me.
First sent to America as a Muslim missionary, Dr. Abraham Sarker now proclaims the gospel. We'll meet him next time on First Person. Back with the second half of this week's First Person, and what a treat to sit down with members of the cast now of October Baby, out this weekend, as a matter of fact. And we just had the joy of talking to John and Andy Erwin, the makers of this film. Now we have a couple of the cast members and Gianna Jensen here with us, too, who's an abortion survivor, and we'll get to Gianna in just a moment. But Sherry Rigby and Jason Berkey. Sherry, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Nice to see you and talk to you and see you in this movie. It's powerful. It really is.
Thank you.
I'm sure you've seen it several times now. We just had the screening here today, but
just a few, but it never ceases to amaze me. There's something that will, stick out and reach out to me. In fact, I was just telling Jason earlier that listening to Jasmine Guy talk about the eyes, these beautiful eyes, and my mother has always said that to me, even from my birth. And I thought, how many times have I watched this movie and not heard that? And today I heard it. And it was just another piece of this beautiful picture that God's given.
Jason, you played one of the lead roles in October Baby.
Yes, sir.
And it had to be fun and moving and all of the above, huh?
It was fun. I'm a hopeless romantic, so I love stories. I'm not afraid to admit that. And so, it was fun. And Rachel's a good friend of mine, so it was fun to play with her. And
Rachel plays the female lead.
Rachel
you play the male lead.
Plays the female lead, Hannah. Yeah, so I play the guy next door, I guess. And we grew up together and have this secret love connection that we don't talk about.
All right. Sherry, you've got to help me here because Jason's not going to talk about this. But I understand he's becoming pretty popular these days.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's actually, I think he's getting a lot of Facebook requests.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I think before we know it, he's going to be the poster instead of the, Hannah's going to probably be, Rachel's going to be upset. She's probably going to be removed.
Jason Berkey.
And it's going to be Jason Berkey, and it's going to be blown up on lots of young women's walls. And I told him I was actually stalking him. He just doesn't know it yet.
Right, yeah.
Your face is red, Jason.
Yeah, I know.
That's refreshing.
What are you talking about? Yeah, that was in my contract actually for the post, me to be featured in the poster.
I see.
So,
Okay, well, let's
yeah.
bring Gianna in on this conversation as well. So nice to see you again. We met years ago, didn't we?
Oh, yes, we did.
You were about, I'm thinking 14, 15 years old when we first met.
Come a long way. I hope.
Gianna, you've inspired this movie. You are an abortion survivor. This movie has that theme, and it goes, the relationship theme, the forgiveness theme, and you sat here and watched it again today. What are some of your thoughts about what you saw on the screen?
Well, the first time I saw it, and this was the second time, I was so annoyed. I could not wait for Jason for him to break up with the girl. I was like in my living room, and I'm like, "Come on, break up!"
You wanted her to dump one love interest in the favor of Rachel, right? Yeah. Okay.
And I am a hopeless romantic as well, and I'm like, "Come on!" It is so clear. And no, but then today I cried, and but when I first saw it, it took me about 2 months from the time that the brothers sent me the film to even sit down on my couch and stick it in the DVD player. And I had to pray. I'm like, God, please just help me, just one scene at a time. And I couldn't understand why. Funny enough, I wasn't understanding why. I was like, I live with this story. I tell it often. But to sit down, and I didn't know at that time that I had even had any part in inspiring the film, which made me laugh hysterically when I found it out. Because I've sang in the film and whatever, and I had no idea until Andy looks at me one day and says, "Don't you know that you inspired this film in part?" And I'm like, "What?" So I had no idea. But anyway, when I saw it, and then today too, it's very emotional on a lot of different levels. I think for me, I want to live in such a way that I'm not living out of death and identifying and finding my worth in death, but rather life. And it's a strange way to live when people identify you with death, but you have so much life. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does, yeah. And I'm so glad you said that because, it'd be easy for us to say, well, Gianna's story inspired this story and just leave it at that. It affected you deeply.
Oh, my gosh. I was either laughing hysterically at the Evelyn and, whatever, or I'm watching Sherry and the depth of, even today, I'm just watching that, and it was just such an honor to sit with her and for us to just be, even just watching today, just in the presence of God. I think for me living, I want to kind of say to every woman that's had an abortion, listen, you are not defined by death either. We've come to life. And yet there's brokenness. even though we have healed from things that have hurt us in life, I think there's a brokenness at times.
That is so well said, Gianna. And I appreciate you bringing up Sherry's role in the film. Sherry, you played the birth mom in this movie. Very emotional scene. I'm not going to go in and spoil it for people who are going to go out and see it this weekend. But this was more than a movie for you in many ways that the producers didn't even realize when they cast you in the role. Tell me about that.
Well, it was so interesting because I remember John calling me and said, "Hey, we have this part for you in this film, and we really feel like it's meant for you, and we would love for you to read the script and tell us, what you think, and if it fits, then we want you for it." And so right from the beginning, from the minute of seeing Rachel Hendrick's picture on the cover of the printout, of the front of the script, to the ending where, again, I don't want to ruin it, but there's a very special ending part to the film where I'm with my husband. All of these things paralleled my life. And to be sitting there reading a script that, first of all, John and Andy being friends knew nothing, of that.
They didn't
past.
know.
No. They didn't even know that. And I had worked also, and it's like, how much do I give away? There's also my career choice in this film was also my life.
Paralleled your life.
Paralleled my life. It was so overwhelming to be sitting there and to see my life on paper 20 years prior, that you just know that in that moment God has ordained this, and you see this tapestry of something that your life was so crazy and so messed up, and you don't know how God is ever going to take those things and make it beautiful. And then all of a sudden to be reading a script and to see it on paper, you just go, wow, I get it.
You feel like this movie gave you permission to talk about your own abortion experience?
It did. It was really something in my life that I've kind of stuffed down. I never, the only time I've had to face it was when I had to bring it back up several years ago in my past with the man that I love, my life, and share with him. And, for me in that moment, you just know when God ordains something, it's time to share it. And God was also very, very much with me through this process of getting to the point of when I arrived on set. How much you're trained, how much talent you have, whatever that is. For me, it was a God ordained time for me. And so he met me.
Yeah. And it began with you in the making of the movie, and I'm sure you've thought of this. It continues now in the people who will see the movie. There are people just like you who are going to watch it. Maybe abortion is not the issue, but it's some other issue that they feel unforgiven for.
Right. Well, and I think that's the thing. I mean, we have to remember I'm one of millions of women and men. And I'm also, to know Gianna and know the story, and to be able to talk to people about abortion survivors. They look at you with this just kind of shock and awe that this can't be possible. And then to know people that have adopted children and their parts of the story, and then to see this beautiful romance come to life on screen. I mean, you've got so much happening in this film. It's incredible. Incredible.
It's well done by all of you.
Thank
Jason,
you.
what does it mean to you to be sitting here with Gianna? She inspires us, doesn't she?
Yes, I was excited. I was excited to meet her. She finally accepted my Facebook friend request.
I wondered if you saw my post on your wall.
I did. But I think I was in
admirers.
Oh, sure. I think I was in limbo for a while, and I was like, man, she better accept my request. But yeah, I mean, Gianna's a joy to be around. She makes you smile.
And just one more little known fact of this film, when you go to see it, is you'll actually hear Gianna sing in this movie. And you heard that today when you saw the screening here.
Yes, oh my gosh. The Erwin brothers made me so happy. They let me sing in the film. And for me to be able to sing is such a miracle, because living through a saline abortion should not have only blinded me but destroyed my vocal cords altogether. And so I am planning, this is getting pretty certain now, to go back, a dream of mine anyways, to go back to Italy and sing with Andrea Bocelli.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, and his mother was advised to have an abortion because he was disabled, and she said no, and he was born blind. And what we would not have if she had gone through with that. So I think it'd be powerful to sing to God with him.
Well, thanks to all of you for your respective parts in this movie. We're excited about the release this weekend.
Thank you.
Jason, Sherry, and Gianna, thank you for your time today. And we leave it in God's hands. What's going to happen next?
That's right.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
October Baby opens this weekend in theaters across the country, the latest in a movement of films with distinct biblical values. Its tagline is, "Every life is beautiful." My thanks to John and Andy Erwin, as well as cast members Jason Berkey and Sherry Rigby for joining us today, and a special thank you to Gianna Jessen. We will post additional information and links about October Baby on our website, firstpersoninterview.com. You'll be able to visit the movie's website and learn more about the cast, as well as the making of this new movie from Provident Films. Once again, firstpersoninterview.com. Next week, we'll meet a man whose Muslim parents sent him to America as a missionary for Islam, but his life took a dramatic spiritual turn. We'll talk with Dr. Abraham Sarker next week. Now, with thanks to my friend and producer Joe Carlson, I'm Wayne Shepherd. Join us next time for First Person.